Wilde On. Thank you for doing my podcast.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Of course, I like your background. What's going on back there?
Some leopard print. I feel like it's my inner color. Like people think red is my color, but
Yeah.
leopard print is actually my color.
Oh, I like this.
Yes.
I like this. So how have you been doing?
Um, surviving. Surviving. I'm in quarantine right now. I think I'm day 11. My partner is American, so I've been able to see him a few times the last year, and I just came back from like a visit. So yeah, in jail for 14 days.
My goodness. So that's hard. So you've essentially had wrestling put on hold, and also your partner is essentially it might as well be the other side of the world.
Yeah, literally. Like, thank goodness for FaceTime.
Where does he live?
Ohio.
Okay, so you're not too far.
No, it works when the world is open. It really does. Yes.
Of course. And is your partner a wrestler?
Yes, but we're super private about it, so I won't say any names.
I respect that.
Yes.
Moving on. So I know you're Canadian. Where are you originally from?
Toronto. Downtown
You are
Toronto.
from, oh, okay. Whereabouts?
Queen and Spadina.
Get out. So you're a proper city girl.
Yeah, man. Benally Street, that hard neighborhood.
Yeah.
Where I hail from. Yeah.
Okay. So are your parents from the city then? Born and raised?
Yep.
Are your parents like cool aging hipsters?
Yeah, cool. Say my mom's covered in tattoos, like, I guess, like,
okay.
yeah. My dad's pretty dad these days, though. I don't know if I'd call him cool. He's hilarious, but he's definitely a dad.
He's accepted adulthood and parenthood in a different way.
New Balance shoes, which I know are now in style again, but like, grass stained New Balance shoes from cutting the grass. Socks and sandals. Yes.
I love it.
Yes.
I love it. Do you still live downtown?
Right now I'm kind of like surfing in between spots.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm quarantining right now in Scarborough.
Oh boy. So you're just all over the place, girl.
Yeah, pretty much.
And do you have any siblings?
I have, 2 younger sisters.
Oh. And how old are they?
One just will be turning 26 next month, and the other one is turning 31.
Wow. And so how do you guys have you guys remained tight through the years, or were you all over the place? Yeah.
They're definitely like my best friends.
Oh, that's beautiful. Yeah. But my sister and I were 5 years apart, and when we were younger, that's kind of like a big age gap. So she was just stealing my shit all the time, and I was too cool. But
right.
By the time we got into our 20s, we're so lucky to have each other.
When we all moved out, that's when we became tight.
Agreed. And so tell me that's really interesting, because seldom are people from the city when they say they're from Toronto. Like, you know how it goes. If you live anywhere in the GTA, you say you're from Toronto.
Right.
Like, I was born in Etobicoke, and then in my adult years, I lived in the Annex. I lived in Liberty Village. I lived in the city.
Right. Not the cusp.
No, not the cusp. None of this GTA shit. I lived in the city.
Right.
So tell me, what was it like growing up in the core? I guess you don't know any different, but where did you go to school? What schools?
Okay, so I started Queen and Spadina for the first, I think it was like 4 years of my life, and my parents worked really hard and moved us up to like more the Yonge and Eglinton area.
Ooh, uptown girl.
I know. Yeah, so we had an apartment there,
nice.
And I went to Eglinton Public School, which is like Mount Pleasant and Eglinton.
Fancy.
Yeah, and then when we got a bit older, they actually worked very hard and were able to buy their first family home out in Scarborough.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so then I left true Toronto and spent like my later years at RH King Academy, which is like the Bluffs of Scarborough. Yeah, but I never hung out in Scarborough. Like, I was like that kid that was always on the TTC, riding in like from Warden Station to Bathurst Station.
It's a long haul. That's a long trip.
Every single weekend, at least a few times.
I feel that though. I did the same thing from Etobicoke. I would take the bus to Kipling Station down to Spadina just to be around Queen West, to be like, this is where the vibe is.
Right. This is my energy. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So did you, for our listeners that don't know downtown Toronto, did you have any, well, I guess you lived there till you were 4. So I guess that you probably didn't have any sketchy memories.
No, but lots of sketchy memories from when I was a teenager down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Care to share?
Well, we'll just say like a lot of being a kid and having to book it from the police.
I hear that.
Yeah.
So would you say the whole Jody Threat vibe has been inspired by the city and like music? And tell me what created Jody Threat.
You actually kind of hit it right on the head with that. I had no idea what I wanted to do during training as a gimmick, and one of my former trainers was like, well, why don't you just do like the skateboarding vibe? Like, just do that. Like, it's an easy gimmick for him. Like, but I don't want to. But then I just gave in, because what else am I going to do? And it's kind of morphed into like, I would say like a young Jody, like really from like age like 15 to like 21, very much me.
I think it's brilliant. It's really funny that you at first resisted it, because there's absolutely never been anything as far as women's wrestling and characters go like Jody Threat. Like you are everything I wanted to be at that age, I'd say. And if I was, well, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm turning 33 this year. I started in the wrestling world. Man, I started old in this industry.
It's all right. I'm 35 and I'm getting back into it. It's fine. But I would say, like, as a young girl, if I saw you wrestling, say Trish Stratus, I would have been like, man, Jody Threat's fucking cool. Like, she skates and she likes to rock out. And I think you've brought this edge, or this, like, market that wasn't tapped into for women's wrestling. And I hope you always keep the gimmick you have and grow with it, because I think you really have something different there.
Oh, I appreciate that. I don't think I will change. I did try, like, to kind of like sex it up a bit a few times. It's not for me. Like, I wish I had it in me. I apparently don't. Like, I wore shorts for a while, and even that was too much for me. I'm like, I need my tights back. I was always scared that, like, a butt cheek was gonna fall out or something more. And I'm like, I can't. I need to focus on, destroying in the ring, not is my stuff in order.
But women's wrestling, that's the beautiful thing, is we're in such a different time now that like you don't have to fit into that divas box. Your ass doesn't have to fall out. Like,
right.
You look
and if
awesome.
It does, cool.
Yeah, great. That's fine.
Yeah.
But I was always like you. Like, I loved long tights, because there's nothing to worry about when your tights are long.
Yeah.
But I kind of got into that, like, I had to fit in a box.
Of course.
If you ask anybody that worked with me, when I was wearing my little shorts, I was always backstage with my sweatshirt tied around my waist, because backstage I just wanted to hang. I couldn't. I didn't feel like me, so I was like, I'll just cover this up until I go. And anyways, funny world. But this is such a good place for women's wrestling where we are now.
For sure. Lots of improvements.
Just fucking be yourself, and people are like, yes, that is awesome.
You represent someone. Yeah.
So why wrestling?
Well, funny story.
Do tell.
So I actually wasn't a lifelong wrestling fan.
I wasn't either.
Yeah. So I kind of just drunkenly walked into it.
Okay.
Yeah. So
like, you walked into a show, you walked into a.
Literally.
Really?
So, like I said, like, I in my adult years, I was in my later 20s when I started training. And when I moved out from my family home, right back down to downtown Toronto. So I hung out there, and one particular evening, my sister, like I said, we're very good friends once we moved out of the family home. She had a bad breakup and we needed to get her mind off things. So we were sauntering around downtown Toronto, and stumbled upon this handwritten sign on a sandwich board saying live pro wrestling. And we were like, should we do this? Let's do this. And yeah, we literally walked to the downstairs part of the Great Hall, which is this bomb venue. Like I've been there for music on the upstairs several times. And downstairs was a ring, super kicked, all set up. And within 5 minutes of being there, it literally was like a light bulb turned on. And I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And like 2 weeks later, I was enrolled.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it's such a small world because Chris Chambers and I started together. He was a few years ahead of me because he started when he was like a literal baby.
Yeah.
But he's done such great work with Super Kicked, and there's nothing like that. There's never been anything like that downtown where it attracts hardcore wrestling fans and just like general people that are walking to bar, and it's attracted this whole new crowd. And if it wasn't for that, there would have been no Jody Threat. That's fucking crazy.
Literally. And one thing I'll put over Super Kicked is it's so accessible for like non-wrestling fans and like the hipsters, if you will, in that area. Like it's funny how many times in that area I like, once I got my green light and started wrestling, they recognized me specifically from Super Kicked, and you're like, oh, you're from Super Kicked. It was very funny how like that community really like took on Super Kicked and like really like invested, even though they weren't like wrestling fans per se.
So how long have you been in it now?
So I got my green light, I guess probably just over 3 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm still a wee baby.
So just so our fans that are listening that are not hardcore wrestling fans, because my podcast is more inclusive, green light meaning you had been training X amount of time, and Chris Chambers, I'm assuming, was probably the person or someone at Super Kicked. Yeah. Gave you the sample of approval to be like, okay, it's your time, go shine. You can go out and do shows. So
exactly. You will not kill anyone by accident, in theory.
Or be killed.
Or be killed. Right.
So yeah, I didn't realize you're such a baby. I've watched quite a few of your matches. You're very good. Oh, I will say that you are very good. And I love your entrance. What went into that? Because I know was the least favorite part of my wrestling career, was like, I don't do the like ta-da very good. I don't stand in one place very good. I just I want to get in the ring and I want to do the shit.
Yes.
So I have a feeling you hit the stroke of genius. Yeah. So tell everybody about your entrance.
Well, I come in, there's a lot of hair flipping, and I end up on the corner post on the top turnbuckle. Like a gargoyle. Gargoyles were actually my inspiration. So I hopped up there, with the hair whip. One of these boys, it's very threatening. And then I hop off. But that, if you look, like I'm literally perched like a gargoyle would be on like the top of a building.
But you come out with your skateboard, and sometimes you ride it out a little bit. Yeah. Sometimes you do some laps. Like you made it work. Yeah. You made it work.
Yeah. And that was actually thankful to like, there was another trainer in the past at Super Kicked, Ash. Yeah. Ash was very helpful in the whole character and how to build like things into like your entrance and stuff like that. So that entrance was like definitely a lot of help with the skateboard. And yes,
Ash has always been very good with creative and seeing like pulling things out of people that are there and making it comfortable.
Yes.
So I guess this year's been a real stick in the mud for you as far as wrestling goes.
Yeah.
And before COVID, were you traveling on the regular to wrestle?
I really felt that I was starting to get my stride, like not only with like, I'm sure like there's a point in wrestling where things just start to click. Like I'm not saying that I was like clicking perfectly, but like things where I was feeling things more than thinking things.
Right.
And I felt like literally a few months before the pandemic, that started happening for me, and I was starting to get flights places. I had just come off like a WWE tryout. It was like a lot of good feelings and a lot of like the starting of like a momentum, and a lot of people like, oh, this is going to be Jody's year kind of thing.
Right.
So like a
It's
very
okay.
high point to like.
Okay, it's just on hold. You didn't lose your stride. You didn't lose your stride. You're fine. It's okay. I got you. It's fine.
Oh god.
So no, never apologize. It's fine.
They start crying profusely. Ugly cry.
I'm okay. I'm fine. So tell me about your tryout. Where was it?
I was the Canadian tryout. That was during Summer Slam, I guess week. The summer before the end of the world. That August.
Were there many people in the tryout with you?
I feel like there were, I want to say between 30 and 40, and it was like exclusively supposed to be like wrestlers. Like a lot of tryouts down in Orlando would be with like athletes and a bunch of sorts, but they kind of tried to streamline it to like specifically like Canadian wrestlers.
Okay, and that's a really big tryout, because usually it's like 8 to 10, I'd say, like for once upon a time when I used to know. But is that normal? That sounds really large to me.
I think pre-pandemic, from my understanding, they are quite big, because if you think about it, the facility in Florida has a few rings, so they're really able to spread things out, right? Like they have the PC now, right?
So it was at the performance, or was it?
It wasn't. It was
okay.
Yeah, building down in like Regent Park. I guess they were like looking for a facility that was kind of like discreet, so fans wouldn't like roll up.
Okay, smart.
Yeah.
And how do you think it went?
Well, I didn't get signed off of it, so
wow. That doesn't mean it didn't go well.
Right. I got positive feedback, and for me, it was like it was a real, I guess, like confidence booster, because at that point I was not even 2 years in, and just being invited to it like felt really good.
Good.
Motivated me to keep going, try harder.
Good. And I'm gonna have a mom moment with you. Please keep sending your stuff in. Please keep bugging them. You are good. You look awesome. You are beautiful. But more importantly, you have a look, which is like way more important than like conventional beauty, because that's boring. Like, not that you're not beautiful, because you are, but you have a look. Yeah, of course. But just keep sending your shit in. Please, 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 please. Never feel like you're annoying them. You have to annoy them, because 30 or 40 at a single tryout, like you are like 0.05%. So I really, really hope you keep pushing, because women's wrestling on television right now, no matter what major company it is, it's in like a good place. Like,
oh, it really is.
There is some fucking exciting wrestling going on right now for the women.
It really is. It really is.
Keep pushing.
Oh, I will. Fight through this closed border too.
Yeah. You know? Well, so I'm a full-time firefighter. I just got my vaccine yesterday. So there is light. I see light now. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We're getting there.
My eyes like, I'm not used to light. Like my poor pupils are just like dilating. Help me.
What is outside?
I haven't been outside in like 11 days. Help me.
Oh my God, you poor thing. You just like out the window, like
literally.
So just to backtrack a little bit, what was before wrestling, since you got into it later? Like, what were you doing employment wise? Were you doing part-time jobs? Did you have a full-time job?
So I've had like a career with the municipal government, working in like community development since graduating university. So I've always had that, and I've worked for the city in some capacity since I was 16.
Good for you.
I always have side hustles too. I truly think I'm like undiagnosed, like ADD, because I always seriously, I need to be like active all the time, or it's like not good. So I will have always like my main job, which is usually the city, and then like a bunch of different hustles, from like security to like electrical work to secret shopping and advising, like, and everything in between. Yeah, and then like sports wise, like growing up involved in all sorts of sports. In university, I played varsity rugby. And then skateboarding has also been a big part of my life, skateboarding and snowboarding.
Yeah.
Up until wrestling. Wrestling actually is what stopped me from skateboarding.
Oh, really?
Even though it's my gimmick, yeah. I'd rather get hurt in the ring than like, because when you skateboard, regardless, it's not if I'm going to get hurt, it's when am I going to get hurt?
Right.
So because
much like wrestling.
True, right?
But different.
Yeah. So I would prefer to end up, if I'm going to get injured, really trying to make something of wrestling than kicking around on my board. And I'm sure one day I'll get back on my skateboard. I snowboard in the winter still.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good for you, because that's another like area, like another sport, should I say, that's not heavily infiltrated by women in a popular like media sense. Like there are so many girl skaters, but they don't have the same coverage as the guys. So how old are you when you started skateboarding?
So when I started to actually take it more seriously, I was actually in my like early 20s. Like,
oh wow,
late to the game. Yeah.
Good for
like,
you.
Sure, when as a teenager you would hop on a board, but like I wouldn't say that I was like competent until like my 20s. That's like I started to take it really serious. Like one of my apartments, I actually had like a mini ramp built in there.
Get the fuck out. That is awesome.
Yeah, I missed that apartment. So wrestling ruined my life. Like, let me tell you, I had this like bomb, like 1-bedroom apartment on the east end of Toronto. Yeah. Like it was like, I think like 7 or 8 stories up. I had like a view lightly of the water, the CN Tower. Not to mention my like the super just didn't care, so I had one of the homies come in and build me like a 3-foot mini ramp in my living room. Like I was living the dream, and gave it all up to have like a roommate so that when I'm on the road someone could watch my dog. Like
fucking wrestling. Oh, that's, I love it. Really cool. I love that. I think it happens so easily that you put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to wrestling, but you have so much at your disposal. Like you're university educated, you've always had a city run job. And for our listeners that don't know, if you're not from Ontario, with that, like that's good shit. That's a pension. That's
benefits.
That's benefits. Like you need that shit. Oh my God. That's life changing when it comes to wrestling.
Oh, for sure.
But I always think that as a talent in wrestling, you are so much more attractive when you have things you can fall back on. And I think it's better for your mental health too.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you're like, okay, I love this. This is what I want to do. But I have other things.
I'm not gonna die. Yeah.
I'm not gonna die.
Yeah.
Which is actually why I got out of wrestling, because even though I had a degree, I had like no applicable work experience, and I was 25, and we all know my story, but hey, that's what made sense for me at the time.
Oh, for sure. But now you got your security and you're getting back in the game.
That's it. And that's what I needed. Like, I don't know, I guess because I started so young and I was in it and everything happened so fast that it was great. And then it wasn't anymore. It became a job. And I think if I had security with something else, even if I didn't have a full-time job, just, I don't know, a few years work experience doing something, it wouldn't have felt so daunting. But, and it was a different era too. Like,
absolutely.
There was a lot of women who are very attractive, called the models, that were getting hired, and then they were being trained to wrestle, and the wrestlers were being phased out. It was just the right time to go.
Yeah, right.
It was shit, but it's not anymore.
We helped lay the foundation, so thank you.
Thank you. It's funny because I was going to ask you, we kind of went forward and we found out that you have a partner that's in the wrestling world, because you got into the game later, and you're technically new wave. You grew up in this more warm and fuzzy wrestling world. Not to say that you have not paid your dues and shit. It's just like when I came in 15 years ago, is very different than the Chris Chambers and Ash. Lots of positive reinforcement, but they're fucking hard. I know they are. But I was going to ask you what your perception on dating wrestlers was, because it was so one-sided. But you being new wave, it sounds like you have a good balance. You have a partner, but you don't lead with who your partner is.
Right.
So
I think it helps that I'm mature coming into it. Like, don't get it twisted. My trainers are very, very clear that you should never, like I got in a lot of trouble. Like just never date.
Yeah.
a wrestler. But yeah.
Well, good luck. Good
Yeah.
luck.
Right, exactly. When that's all you know. And
yeah. And it's your love. It's your passion. How
Yes.
can you not bond
Yes.
over that? But you know what? I think you hit the nail on the head, because you came from education, from another job, with life experience.
Yeah.
You made a conscientious decision.
Yeah, it was thought out.
Yeah. So
For sure.
Jody Threat is just so worldly.
AKA I'm old.
I got 2 years on you. You're fine. So in your 3 years of being an independent wrestler, tell me your worst experience on the indies.
You know, I'm like thinking, that's a good one. I feel like I've been really lucky.
Yeah.
I do, like, even with like my first experiences of like leaving Canada very because it's kind of gray when you cross into American side. I've been very lucky, and like even with my first flights, like one story I love. So once I moved on from Super Kicked, Josh Alexander took me under his wing, and he's been my trainer ever since, like polishing me and making sure that I like my fundamentals are still there and I'm growing. But
awesome.
He was actually there on like one of my first flights. And so we go in, we fly like at proper airlines. Someone's there to pick us up, brings us to this fancy ass hotel in Winnipeg. And we're in the elevator, just him and I, and he looks over, he's like, don't get used to this. This is not what your first experience is supposed to be like. So I think that kind of speaks to like my experience in wrestling. I've been super lucky in the sense that not too many shitty things have happened. And if they have, I've clearly just moved on from them. But I know there's some really shitty situations. Yeah. Like I've not even been stiffed on pay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Very lucky.
Well, and I think that speaks to having a really good mentor that you have been able to stick with as you're going through the process. That's huge.
Yeah, honestly, Josh has been so like, so I'm so happy that I found him, and actually like Ethan Page. Like those are two people that I absolutely look up to and find advice. And same with actually Ricky Shane Page is like another one of those like there's a lot of people I have access to, but like those maybe 3 have been like the ones that like whenever there's anything that I need to bounce an idea off of, I like immediately go to one of them, because they're so well traveled and have just been around for however many years.
Yeah, I think that's really important, and probably any young and up and coming wrestler, like who you attach yourself to is so important, and their reputation will rub off on you, so you have to be careful.
Exactly.
But man, those guys they're solid workers. They're super people, and we've watched them grow together collectively on Impact. Not anymore, but man, Ethan Page could take over the world with his media skills. That guy he should start a course, because I would take it.
For real. He could make some serious dough.
Yeah, he's amazing. That man must not sleep.
Yeah, probably not. Probably not.
But I always like to end my episode with 10 tailor-made questions. And I ask everybody the same 10 questions, male or female. It's kind of like a speed round, but there's no rush on your answers. So
okay.
Are you ready to play?
Yes.
Okay.
And
name one beauty product you can't live without.
Anything from Moroccan oil.
Okay, because you got some thick hair, girl.
Thick curly hair, and that shit is the only stuff that my hair loves.
It tames the beast.
Oh yes, very much so.
What is your favorite exercise?
Deadlifts, period.
What is your biggest pet peeve? It could be top 3, because I feel like wrestlers, we have like lots.
Does it real world or wrestling world?
Doesn't matter.
Real world, people who do not pick up their dog doo-doo. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone to scoop my dog doo-doo and have stepped in someone else's dog doo-doo. Pick up your dog shit, people.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
It's fucking retarded, especially if you live in the city. Or anywhere. Pick up your dog shit. Man.
If the dog goes into the bush, like I've actually trained Dodger to go into the bush.
Yeah.
Where people aren't stepping, like literally butt in there. Cool. But if it's anywhere someone could step, pick it up.
there is nothing worse than getting back in your car in your house and smelling like shit. And it's not even your dog shit.
Right. Motherfuckers.
What is your favorite band or artist?
Okay, that's very hard because I have a very we'll say eccentric collection of music. Like you could find me listening to classical music from the 50s, 60s. Then you can like, early 90s, 2000s, like hip hop, rap.
We are kindred spirits, girl. Yeah. You're singing. You're singing
and then
to me.
Obviously the punk and the metal and like grindcore, like these things. I love these things, all of these things. So I can't say one in particular. I love so many, but interesting fact, Jody Threat is inspired by Minor Threat.
I was going to ask that. I figured as much. Very cool. A nod to the punk rock movement, or hardcore movement, should I say, excuse me. I love it. I love an eclectic person, and more so someone who has great taste in music. Do you have a secret vice, like drinking a glass of wine in the shower?
Big Macs.
Oh, Big Macs.
Big Macs. I literally am right now for the last like 3-4 months, like predominantly plant-based, but I cannot shake the Big Macs.
How many Big Macs can you crush in a session?
If I didn't stop myself, I don't know. The most I will allow myself is like a double Big Mac and a Big Mac.
So that's 4 patties in one and a Big Mac. Is that what we're saying? A double Big Mac?
Yes. That's that I will allow myself, and I know I could take on more, but I have to like focus and draw the line.
I do love a Big Mac. I could probably crush that, but I don't think I could eat any more. Could you eat that and then the fries and then more?
Yes, and we get the extra large fries because you need to spread it out throughout your meal. And then I prefer like the fountain Coca-Cola, a true Coca-Cola with ice.
Okay, not that diet shit.
No.
Yeah. You're already eating Big Macs. Like, fucking, what are you doing? What are you doing
with
your life?
Thank you. I'm already killing myself.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And if McDonald's is listening, please sponsor Jody Threat.
Been trying.
What wrestler has the best entrance music? And you can say yourself.
Well, then in that case, myself. No, I don't know. That's a good one. I can't.
No one gets you going. Nothing off the top of your head.
No.
That's cool. Jody Threat then.
No.
What is your drink of choice? Doesn't have to be alcoholic.
I drink a lot of water, but like I feel like I would die without coffee.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And being Canadian, I'm going to ask you the quintessential question: Tim's or Starbucks?
Not that I like to support Starbucks, but if I had to pick between the two, definitely Starbucks.
There's no judgment. That's just you're not a bad Canadian. I like shit coffee, so I like Tim's. Like I like a long, watery coffee.
No, but you see, like this is the thing. Like we have lots of shit options, and I'm not for shit options. It's just if I had to pick out of all the shits, it would probably A&W actually has great shit coffee, and so does McDonald's.
McDonald's has great shit coffee.
Yeah, it's just Tim Hortons is like the bottom tier of the shit coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna say McDonald's has a richer coffee taste than even Tim Hortons.
Yes.
That's right. Yes. Coffee and water. Okay. Yeah. What was your most embarrassing moment in the ring? This could be a botch, a wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, I guess probably one of my like first matches, like against another really inexperienced girl. I made the error of assuming that she should lead because she had been in the business a little bit long, not much longer than me, but long. So it was one of those situations, and out of respect, I'm like, you know what, like we'll let you call lead. Yeah. Cool.
It's a shit show.
Girl, that like it still haunts me. There was like a pass by some like I don't know, and then finally I think I just grabbed her and threw her, and then she was like shook because she thought she was leading. I'm like, girl, you're not leading no more. Like, but it haunts me. It was like probably like my 3rd or 4th match. Like I said, we were set for failure.
It happens.
Yeah,
it happens, and you get better. You get better as a result because now you know
I learned so much. I like literally, if at the moment I realize that someone is not comfortable leading, like if they have that role to begin with, like I have no problem now to turn it around.
Right.
And understand like no one takes offense to it. Like if anything, they're going to thank you 1 million times at the end that you took the initiative. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Because years like seniority or like veteran status doesn't actually mean you're good. Just means you've been sticking around for a long ass time.
Right.
But be respectful, but
of course.
With caution.
Exactly.
Okay, last one. I'm doing this a nod to the Canadian punks. Finish this lyric. I want to jump in a lake.
No.
Sun shining down on the beach in the summer. Gob? Soda?
No, I don't.
Okay, it's watered down punk. Let's be.
I was gonna say
pop punk.
Back in my day, I would have had my ass beat if I was caught listening to pop. But like literally had my ass beat. So
you know what? You're right. I went really safe. I should have prefaced like much music, pop punk. By the Canadian broadcast approved. Okay, fine.
I have a funny thing. I don't know if you remember.
Oh, do you tell
Probably
me?
not. Okay. So this was around the time of the Mae Young Classic.
Mm-hmm.
I think you were thinking maybe of getting your toes wet in wrestling back then. And you rolled up into a super kick training session one Saturday, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And
were you there?
I was there the day that you like bashed up your beautiful cheek. But you were the one who actually showed me how to properly feed and take a body slam. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. And you know why? You know why? Because I had a concussion. I forgot. Besides smashing my face that day, I don't remember anything else.
Oh wow!
Nothing.
I didn't realize you got I knew you got messed up and like I think you needed like a stitch or something.
Yeah, I got my face glued, like my nose and my cheek.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So I taught you how to feed in a body slam.
Yeah, and to take it nicely, and literally it's your voice in my head when I take it. It's very funny.
Oh, that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Well, I really hope that sometime in 2021, when the world resumes, that I get to have a match with you, because that would be
yes, girl.
A badassery match of two Toronto girls.
It'd be so fun.
Yeah.
So
real
fun.
Toronto girls, not GTA shit, okay?
Yeah, agreed.